Hello everyone, welcome back or welcome to for the first time Lone Pine Tarot, and thank you so much for choosing to join me for our pick a card reading today, which, as you know by the title you just clicked on, our topic is your hidden gifts and talents that Spirit wants you to know about. Mostly because they want you to step more into your personal power, they want to see you thrive, all that good stuff. So without further ado, let us choose our piles. As you can see, I pre-selected our 3 piles today. Over here on the left for pile 1, your pile leader card is Focus on the Light, or if you do want to choose by a number, we do have 37 for that one. Here in the middle is the pile leader for pile 2. You have Visions of Life Beyond Death with the number 44. And last but not least, for our wonderful pile 3 on the right, you have Spirals of Manifestation, or number 18. So pile 1, Focus on the Light. Pile 2, Visions of Life Beyond Death. And pile 3 is Spirals of Manifestation. Though, as I always say, you are perfectly welcome to pause on this part of the reading if you need more time to decide what pile you would like read for you. I just always suggest go with your gut. What does your intuition say? Where are your eyes drawn first? And that is the pile I recommend you choose. But whatever your method, drop down to the description box below, find the timestamp for your pile, and I will see you in our fun little chat with Spirit about your hidden gifts and your talents. See you in the reading, everyone. Hi there, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading on your hidden gifts and talents. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to the beautiful card of Focus on the Light as your pile leader. So, as we always do when we choose with oracle cards for our pile leaders, I'm going to set yours off to the left, and let's begin by drawing your other oracle cards to see a more full picture from Spirit about what your hidden gifts and talents are. So, calling on Spirit for your highest, best good as always. Can you tell us more about their hidden gifts and talents? Something that is empowering, something you want them to step into more. Thank you, Spirit. Okay, we're going to draw that one for up here. Let's keep shuffling. We're using the Citadel Oracle next for you. And I feel like pile 1, kind of a odd message, I guess, to begin your reading with, but based on your oracle card you picked for your pile leader, I think you're actually on the cusp of whatever this hidden gift or talent is. Like, maybe you've already started kind of dabbling in it a little bit, but you don't 100% believe in your capability with it, or like you don't really see how far that horizon could stretch, at least in terms of like how far that talent or that gift could really take you. I say that because, especially as I said with the pile leader that you chose, it's like she's just on the cusp of grasping something with that light that she's holding in the middle of the sunflower there. So that's what I'm feeling, at least from your reading here intuitively. And then last but not least, we'll draw your L key oracle, and then we'll unveil your oracle cards. There we go. There is the last one. Thank you for your patience. So, drum roll please, pile 1. First up, the Lenormand card you received is, the Man. So, traditionally in Lenormand, the man can literally mean a man, but of course in this type of reading we're more talking about intangible gifts and talents, abilities, etc. So, what a man would mean in this situation to me is more of a hidden gift or talent surrounding your ability to build things, your ability to bring structure or control to things. I'm kind of leaning more into like the way you would interpret it more so as like masculine energy, which of course in my personal belief, I think everybody, no matter your gender, you have masculine and feminine energy. So this particular gift that Spirit is talking about first is more of the way that you lean into masculine energy. I'm going to look at your other cards too, just to kind of see where maybe this blends together, because it might give more specificity, of course, as to where this masculine energy gift kind of leans in. So let's look at those. Next up from the Citadel Oracle, we have the Shepherd. Okay, and that is the element of earth with the keywords of celebration and family. And then number 2, we have the Fate with the element of fire, you can see the upright triangle. And the keywords on this one are accepting help and guidance. Okay, so you know what, pile one? I almost feel like this hidden gift or talent, the first one, is more so masculine energy in terms of being a leader. I think especially when it comes to family, you are a very good leader, or you have the good capacity to be, in terms of like leading your family to prosperity, to abundance, towards especially like protective things. I wonder if a lot of you tend to be quite protective of your family, or I know not all of us are in contact with like our blood family. In that case, I would almost interpret this as like your found family then. Whatever you consider family in your own life, I feel like you're meant to be, or have the great capability to be, a leader to them in that way. But I think this also extends to friends too, you know, kind of leading into that found family theme too. It's almost like you are very good, or have that ability to like give really good advice to other people. I almost wonder if you would do really well in a career where you do advise other people, especially with, you know, the fate it talks about accepting help and guidance and all that. And then a shepherd too, when you think of a shepherd, right? A shepherd is someone that like corrals animals and makes sure that they're safe and watches out for threats. So I think anything too that leans into that protective energy as well. Like you're almost a guardian. You're like a shield, I guess, is one symbol I would use to describe you so far, protecting other people. So any roles too where you could lean into that protection of others, I think, is another way that your hidden gifts and talents and abilities would really shine. Not seeing any spiritual talents yet, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they won't crop up. A lot of this, because especially it's, you know, masculine energy, and we're talking about like helping other people and being a leader. So far, Spirit's kind of talking about more of your tangible, like earth kind of level abilities and gifts and whatnot. But let's look at your L-Key card. I'm curious to see what it says. We have, I stand corrected. I was like, I haven't seen anything spiritual yet. And then you got Futura, she who divines. She's literally holding tarot cards. Okay, very fitting. Literally, that is the death card. It says La Mort. And the Seven of Hearts, which would be the Seven of Cups in traditional tarot. Seven of Cups tends to mean parsing between different dreams, making action on our dreams, and of course death in tarot, if those, or for those of you that are familiar, is related to change, right? And the keywords with her are future, choice, and judgment. I think you have very good spiritual abilities too. So like I said, I stand corrected, pile one. I feel like Spirit was like, well, wait a minute. Yes, they have a lot of talents in the physical, but they also have spiritual. And what that means, especially because it's such a future-focused card, is that I think you have a really good talent or ability regarding seeing the future, which would be like clairvoyance, claircognizance, intuition just in general. So for those of you that haven't explored that yet, I think you might be really good literally at doing like what I do. I do tarot. I think you would also be really great at tarot. Of course, there's like a million different divination systems you could go into. I always recommend Lenormand for people. I feel like Lenormand is very underrated in the divination space, because not only is it more blunt with its interpretations, or especially when it comes to, you know, because a lot of people like they get into tarot and divination because they want to predict things, right? Lenormand is fantastic with like prediction type stuff. I think that you would be really good with that. And also Lenormand tends to be, it's less cards, right? I think it's only 32, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 32 cards versus like the 78 in tarot. So it's also a bit easier for beginners to learn. Look into Lenormand card readings if you haven't done so already. Or if you do want to tackle tarot, which I always will advocate for tarot too, of course. You could also do tarot, but it is 78 cards versus Lenormand's little 32. So I think Lenormand would be a great thing for you to look into. Or any other divination system, really. You could look into like channeled writing. I love doing channeled writing myself. That's also great as a divination system, my personal opinion. Or you might also be really good at, like I know people do like rune casting. Whatever you're drawn to, I think just lean into that. Because I think for those of you that haven't tapped into that yet, you would be very good at future sight, future predictions, as I said, claircognizance, clairvoyance, intuition, etc. Okay, so, like I said, stand corrected. Spirit was like, you said they only had physical abilities here in this reading, but no, then we had a spiritual ability pop out, so that was kind of funny because right after I said that, right? Okay, and then we're going to draw your tarot cards, speaking of tarot. So as I said in the very beginning with your focus on the light, I almost wonder if you have been just on the cusp of all of this. Like maybe you've been leaning into being more of a leader for your family or your found family, or being like an advisor in some way. Same thing too, maybe literally just by watching this reading. Obviously you're kind of into divination and tarot, right? Dabbling a little bit. So maybe you've already been dabbling into divination and stuff like that, in which case Spirit is basically saying and pushing you and saying, do more. Do that more, because you have an untapped ability there that you need to lean into more than you have been. So first up from tarot, we have the Knight of Wands reversed. Okay, we're going to read reversals a little bit different in a reading like this. Reversals in a reading like this could mean areas of life where you have this skill, but it's really kind of blocked, or you haven't really seen it yet. It's kind of something that's very still in the shadows for you. So that's how I'll read reversals today. Then the second card today is the Well, which is not a traditional tarot card. This is very specific to this deck. Once again, it is reversed. That tends to mean, like I said, it could be blocked. We'll explain more what that is in a second. Third card is the Wheel of Fortune, once again reversed. Okay. I will say this. You have, with these particular abilities and gifts, pile one, you have something that could be very fortunate to work with in terms of, you know, you don't have any Pentacles cards yet necessarily, so I don't want to say it's specifically like really fortunate in terms of like money or resources or career, but with the Wheel of Fortune having come up, especially reversed, it means it's like something you haven't tapped into yet in terms of like good luck and good fortune with this. So I almost wonder if some of you might be really good at turning this into like a main, maybe not necessarily like your main job. I mean, some of you might be able to do that, like in terms of like you want to be a tarot reader. Go ahead and do it. You want to work into like an advisor role, and as that, or use that as like your career, which, I mean, tarot readers are also kind of like advisors, right? So like, I don't know. I think there's something there where you could really expand on that even more just because of that Wheel of Fortune that popped out. But once again, we'll talk about that more in a second once we're done drawing the cards. Then we have, okay, there's a Pentacles. We have the Nine of Pentacles reversed again. Lots of reversals today. Okay. Definitely that means that you're not really reaping the fruits of your labor, or reaping the fruits that could come out of labor in terms of you really expanding upon these abilities and gifts and talents, etc. It's probably why Spirit's coming and reaching out to you. Yeah, okay. Ace of Pentacles reversed. There's all those pentacles. I was like, you haven't had any yet, but I got the inkling. I was like, you know, maybe it is related to career or business. And then boom, you have two Pentacles cards. Now you have all reversals today, which totally makes sense because this is a hidden gifts and talents reading. This is a reading about things that you don't really know about. Okay, so reversals make total sense. What I would say to you is, number one, you have the Knight of Wands reversed, pile one. And the Knight of Wands reversed tells me there is an untapped gift here in terms of either when it comes to like speaking more, because with the Knight of Wands, Wands cards are in the fire suit of tarot, and that is related to, yes, creativity and all those things, but also charisma. Now, I know sometimes people interpret swords cards a lot as like, you know, the communication suit, and I agree with that because it is the air suit in tarot, but especially a Knight of Wands, that's where fire meets action, which I always kind of think of with the charisma meaning or the confidence meaning of the Wands suit in tarot, that is like more about like your ability to like come off as like charismatic with other people, or more confident, which obviously kind of ties into, say, like if you were to do like tarot readings, right, which involves a lot of communication. Same thing too, where if you were become an advisor of some sort, once again, speaking confidently plays a big factor in those things, okay, or those types of roles, careers, etc. And so it can also be creativity too, though, I think, because once again, as I said, Wands, fire, creativity, really big connection there. You have an untapped potential when it comes to something that you're creative with. I get the feeling, oh, this is really odd. Oh, this is very left field. What's that called? Glass blowing? It's the art where people take glass and they take a tube and they blow into it. I think it's literally called glass blowing. Like, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. For some reason, I'm hearing that for you guys, or something to do with glass. It could also be like stained glass creation. I think that would be another untapped creative potential for you if you haven't already kind of dabbled in that. But there's something there with glass, working with glass, maybe making like glass things. I know sometimes I've seen people at Renaissance festivals before, they do there was this one guy that it wasn't glass blowing necessarily, but he would like take things out of the forge or like the fire, and then he would take like tools and he would shape things. Like I have a crystal glass rose that this guy made. It's really cool. So even just like glass shaping like that might be something you're into. I'm just hearing something about glass. Okay, so look into that if you're interested in that. I think you'd be really talented with that, either with the blowing or like stained glass, etc. And then same thing too, the well is, as I said, not native to most tarot decks. It's very specific to the Ethereal Visions tarot that we're using today. And the well is often about something that comes from deep within ourselves, just like, a well drills to the core of the earth, or, well, not to the core, I guess, but deeper down into the rock of the layers, right? Hopefully not all the way to the earth. You just have magma instead of water. But deep things, deep from the soul, deep from our creativity. So that makes me think it's just like another emphasis of your creative talents that you just really haven't brought to light. I don't know if maybe you just have been really busy with your life, or like a lot of your main career right now doesn't really use or take advantage of your creative abilities, in which case that might be why these are reversed in the very beginning, is because you've been kind of suppressing that maybe. And that's why Spirit potentially is like encouraging you towards this. I'd look into those things. Or even if it's not glass related, pile one, it could also just be anything that has sparked your interest recently with creativity, and like lean into that. Go where it takes you. Don't just go, oh, well, maybe someday. Think of it more as, maybe I'm getting this download or this intuition of, oh, I should try this new creative thing for a reason. Because I guarantee you, pile one, it is for a reason. When we get those random thoughts in our head, like, oh, I should try that thing, usually there's a reason for it. It's usually because your spirit guides or angels, etc., ancestors, whatever spiritual source you like to connect with most, they're trying to encourage you in an area or direction for a reason. And I feel like that maybe has been going on with you lately, in which case follow it if you can, or if that has been happening to you. Now, next up we have a lot more about the business side of things, or like financial related things, especially when it comes to the Two Pentacles cards, but also the Wheel of Fortune reversed. As I was saying, I kind of feel like that's Spirit saying you could even take some of these abilities, like advising, your creativity, your future ability, okay, or seeing ability, clairvoyance, etc., in terms of like business, you could take it in that direction. I think they're saying basically like there is a wealth here, like not necessarily like tons of money. I mean, maybe you would make tons of money with it. But when I say wealth, what I mean is more both the intangible and the tangible with it. Because right now, a Wheel of Fortune reversed in this kind of reading means, that's a fortune or a luck or a good karma that you haven't tapped into yet. Okay, so also, it might mean, too, that some of your fulfillment in these areas with these gifts and talents might be related to a past life where you weren't able to kind of follow that direction for whatever reason, outside circumstances, resources, etc., that just weren't there or available to you in that particular past life. But in this life, it's basically saying, okay, now it's time to resolve this karma. It's time to follow these things, follow these dreams, follow these paths, okay? So that's kind of what I'm seeing. A bit of a spiritual element there with the Wheel of Fortune, especially, as most of the major arcana tends to do. Or referred to, I should say. Then we have the Nine of Pentacles reversed and the Ace of Pentacles reversed. This is a really big flashing neon sign, pile one, that you're really underutilizing these talents, especially things regarding making money with them, okay? Or doing business with them. We have, especially the Nine of Pentacles reversed is often a card of, I use the gumball metaphor. Forgive me if you watched my videos before and you're like, I know where this is going. But for those who are new to my channel, the gumball metaphor with the Nine of Pentacles is I put a gumball in, or I'm sorry, a quarter in or whatever coin, and I get my gumball out. Nine of Pentacles reversed is I put the quarter in, or coin, where is the gumball? Okay, so it's basically like Spirit saying these talents and abilities are things that you maybe even haven't necessarily put the coin or the quarter in, but you would get a lot of gumballs out of them, so to speak, in terms of like career success, business success, maybe even wealth. Like I said, it can be like good money making as well. And then too, with the Ace of Pentacles reversed, it's basically saying there's an opportunity here financially that you're not taking advantage of. Because literally you can kind of see the Ace of Pentacles, as all the aces do, they tend to look like just hands coming out of the heavens. It's new energy or opportunities in terms of whatever their realm of power is. And Pentacles, their realm of power are excuse me, the business, career, financial related things. Okay, so I would say too, no matter what you do with, say, maybe a small business, I think even having like a small business or doing entrepreneurship would be really a good direction for you to also go into if you haven't done that already. Pile one. Like, I think in general too, even if you don't connect it to this creative stuff or advising skills or like tarot reading, divination, future seeing skills, you would be really good. You have a hidden gift or a talent for making money and being an entrepreneur. Okay. I think you basically, off this reading, I mean, you could probably do really well with just, regular 9-to-5 career working for someone else. Not to shame that, but I feel like because of these cards, Spirit is basically saying this is a very untapped gold mine for you in terms of, ambitions you might have with business or entrepreneurship. So whatever you might do, even if it's not, advising people or glass blowing, whatever creative ideas you have or you're interested in, you might want to start a business at some point because this is an untapped thing. Or if you already have started a business, pile one, and you're just like not 100% sure of it, maybe it's still kind of in the baby stages, this is just a confirmation from Spirit to you then. Keep going. Okay, keep going with it. This is a wonderful idea. You're made to be really good in these areas. And I think that's kind of where that leadership, that masculine energy also pops in. Not to say that feminine energy isn't also good for business and making money. It is for like, softer skills in terms of like being good at communication, being good at, like creating things. That's another feminine energy thing. But masculine energy is especially good in business, especially in terms of leadership. Like we talked about, I think that's another hidden gift you're not really tapping into yet, or the Spirit wants you to lean into more. And then two, with masculine energy regarding business, it's just like that ability to kind of strike it out on your own and have that authority. Like, I don't know. I think you're supposed to be your own boss. I feel like pile one. I feel like you're supposed to be your own boss. I feel like you're really good at being independent. And I think too, even your spiritual abilities might lean into this as well. Sometimes good business is just predicting the way a certain market might go or, what customers need, things like that. So I don't know. If I had to describe you and these talents in like one sentence based on this reading, it's like someone who is just on the cusp of leaning deeply into masculine power in terms of, as I said, advising people in terms of being creative and really succeeding in business somewhere with a spiritual edge to it if you want to take it that direction. Okay? So beautiful energy. This is really cool. Pile one. I'm trying to see, did I miss anything? I think I covered everything. Yes. At least consider a small business or entrepreneurship if you haven't already. It's the last thing I'll leave you with. Okay, so that was your reading for today on your hidden gifts and talents, pile one. I hope, of course, as I always say, it helped you, it resonated, you liked the reading, and if so, please like, comment, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those three things, if not more. And as we say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, hopefully full of maybe you're typing up on Google how to start glass blowing right now, or stained glass or whatever you're into, learning tarot, etc. Or Lenormand. I highly recommend that too. Lenormand, underrated. Do it. And I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile one. Hey there, pile number two. Welcome to your hidden gifts and talents reading for today. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to the beautiful card of Visions of Life Beyond Death, or the number 44. So, as we do with our pile leaders, we'll put this one over to the left and let's start drawing your oracle cards to tie the cohesive message together. So, calling on Spirit for pile two's highest best good today. Can you tell us a little bit more about their hidden gifts and talents that you want them to lean into more, that they should know about, etc.? Thank you. And I feel like pile two, based on the pile leader you chose, which is Visions of Life Beyond Death, I think there might be a spiritual talent that you haven't invested in or looked into enough yet. Of course, obviously there'd probably be some like physical talents too, but I'm getting a spiritual vibe off of you, especially because of the pile leader that you chose. But we will see with your other cards. We have the Citadel Oracle next. Uh-oh, your Lenormand card is going flying. This has actually been quite a fun reading today. I love doing readings like this because I feel like, I don't know, it's always good to kind of think about new directions we might want to move in, you know? It's in terms of new things to learn, new hobbies to take up, things like that. And then your last oracle deck today is the L key. Let's see what this card unveils. Right there. Okay, thanks for your patience, pile 2. Let's unveil the other cards. So, speaking of that Lenormand that wanted to go flying, we have number 1 in Lenormand, which is the Rider, or this particular deck calls it the Bard too. And traditionally in Lenormand, the Rider or Bard tends to mean something regarding sending a message or the news or something happening kind of quickly, because as you can see, the Rider is going very fast. He's trying to get to a certain location on time, right? So that kind of feels to me that either some of these hidden gifts or talents are regarding like communication in some way, and that can mean many different facets. That can mean literally like talking communication, of course, but then writing as well, especially too because the other interpretation of the Rider / Bard is literally like news or information about something. So it might be a hidden talent regarding like sharing information, or literally some of you might have an interest in journalism, or if you have kind of thought about it but you just never really dabbled in it, journalism might actually be a really good kind of thing for you. Or it doesn't have to be traditional journalism either. It could also be something regarding like not a literal newspaper, it could be, or a blog or news website, I guess. It could be doing like what I do, a YouTube channel where you talk about things that are relevant in terms of like the news or politics or like modern events or like current events, I guess is probably the better way to put that. Or even if it's not related to like new news, it can be like a specific like niche of news. Like maybe you want to talk about new tarot decks coming along if you're interested in divination, or new news in terms of another hobby that you have. But it's something along those lines where you have a really good capacity that I think Spirit is saying you haven't really taken advantage of yet in terms of sharing information with other people. So let us look then at your Citadel Oracle. Just a lot from that tiny little card, right? I love Lenormand for that reason. We have the Patron with the element of air. So speaking of communication, we have the air element popping out first. Makes total sense. We have mentorship in finances. Okay, so maybe something to do with finances. Maybe some of you would do really well too in a career that deals a lot with finances, like say being an accountant. Maybe some of you are already an accountant. That's also possible. We'll talk about that more in a second. As your second oracle card here from the Citadel Oracle is, we have the element of fire with the Spy Master. Speaking of communication once more, with the keywords of knowledge and distrust. Okay, yes, knowledge. Okay. Very flashing, giant neon sign. You need to do something, or don't need to. Explore, is what I put it away, or how I will put it. Explore something regarding sharing information with people and or communication that will increase trust with other people, or is like solid communication in the way of it being trustworthy. This is why I'm getting that news sense off of you, or journalism in some way. Because I think, pile 2, the reason why Spirit is bringing this up is because you have a very good ability to see things truthfully. You have a very good ability to then parse that information to other people and kind of distill it down into like an understandable format. This is why I think you'd also be really good with a YouTube channel. I feel like you'd be, because that's kind of the modern way to get news a lot, is social media. Like a lot of us don't even just look at a newspaper anymore. We look at like YouTube, Twitter /X. We look at, I'm trying to think of like other platforms. You know what I'm talking about though with all social media. And so I don't know, you might be really good to throw your own hat into that ring. I think you'd be great with something communicative like that. And then as we said too with the Patron, something to do with mentorship, which is like teaching other people. Maybe another way you could communicate well with other people is like a YouTube channel or social media that teaches other people things on how to do this. Or maybe even teaching other people about finances too. Maybe some of you have already been an accountant, in which case, you know how to budget things, you know how like money works, you know how to help people figure out their money, either be it like personal budgeting or maybe like small business budgeting. that might be another way that you would be really good with that, because I feel like you're very organized is the sort of intuitive sense I'm getting off of your energy pile too. I think you're someone who is good at putting things in order. You almost kind of give me Virgo vibes. And I say that because every single Virgo I have ever known, like Sun Virgo at least, has been extremely organized. All of them are so good at that stuff. So you give me Virgo vibes is kind of what I'm seeing here if you're familiar with like that astrology sign. But, and you even do have Earth right here with the patron. Or I'm sorry, that's air. That's not. For some reason I was thinking that was Earth. Because Earth is the opposite, where it's the inverted triangle with the line through it. But I don't know. You give me that earthy feeling, too. Definitely Virgo vibes. Okay, let's look at your L-Key Oracle here, too. And we have, well, it's kind of earthy, too. She's got vines growing around her. Her name is Primavera. She who begins, launch, actualize, and potential. That's another thing I'm feeling off this card for you, pile 2, is... I wonder if that leans into that mentorship and finances thing. I don't know if some of you, as I said, have already been accountants, or perhaps you have already, like, for some reason you might already know a lot when it comes to, like, budgeting and saving money, or, like, something along those lines. I think you're very money savvy. And there's something here where I feel a hidden gift or talent of yours would be helping not only mentor other people in that way that we talked about with like the patron, but now with Primavera, like she who begins, like, I mean, those keywords like launching something, seeing the potential in things. I almost wonder too if you would be really good at advising people just starting new things, and which of course makes me think of like small business advising or like financial advising when it comes to like people starting a new business in some way. Like, I think you have a really good... because of that communication ability you have and that like total earthy Virgo vibe that I'm getting off of you, it's like you, whereas other people would just see chaos and mess that doesn't make any sense, you have a very good ability, I feel, to take all of that and make it in like digestible bites for others, which, you know, leans into that news thing too, journalism, but it also leans into this financial capability too. Like, you're just also project management. I know this isn't a career reading, but I feel like you'd also be really good with project management if you haven't already done that. Just total secretary, project manager vibes here is what I'm getting off of you. You're a very talented person, pile 2. Look at this. It's funny because at the very beginning, I was like, I feel like you have a lot of spiritual abilities. But then as soon as the other cards came out, I'm like, oh, this is more communication or like physical, tangible things. But that doesn't mean you don't also have spiritual abilities. And I didn't explain that fully what I meant when I first mentioned it, and especially when we talk about life beyond death or seeing life beyond death, as it talks about with the keyword visions. Usually that means mediumship. And mediumship, if you're not familiar, is the ability to talk to people that have passed on to the other side. So mediumship might also be another hidden gift or talent of yours in the spiritual realm that you haven't really delved into much, that Spirit is saying you would be really good at kind of delving into. It would be something that you probably have a lot of skill with or a lot of gift or talent with. And maybe you've already kind of sensed that in terms of, because I have noticed, anyone out there correct me if your experience is different, but I have noticed personally, a lot of times when people are good at mediumship, they already, especially as children, but even throughout their adult lives too, they have had a lot of experiences with like ghosts, or they've been interested in stuff like ghost hunting, or they've already had like a lot of connections with like family members that have passed on. Like a lot of times, you know, even personally, or like my own family too, when people have passed on, I or other members of my own family have gotten like visions or like dreams of people that have passed on to the other side in our family. So if that happens to you a lot, pile 2, or if you've been interested in ghost hunting and stuff like that, or you've always kind of had a heightened experience, so to speak, with seeing ghosts, sensing ghosts, that might be something that Spirit is saying, please lean into that more. Maybe look into like mediumship more. Look into maybe like meditation with like ancestor type focus, speaking to ancestors, connecting with ancestors, because I think that's something where you really would shine. Okay. Let's look at your tarot cards. We haven't even seen your tarot cards yet, so shuffling those now. Spirit, is there anything else you want to tell our very organized, very communicative, intelligent pile 2 about their hidden gifts and talents they should lean into more. So card number 1 is, oh, the Devil. Okay, so normally this would be kind of a negative card, because typically the Devil is about control or like addiction. Sometimes it can mean. It can also represent things where we feel trapped in some way. But because this is a hidden gifts and talents reading, it kind of shifts the meaning of it a bit. I almost wonder if that is reflective of, as I was saying, with like the financial advice or mentorship sort of thing, or helping people launch their small businesses, you know, all those things we were discussing earlier. This is kind of representative of your ability to, because remember I said it was something about like you're really good at seeing chaos and organizing it. Virgo vibes, once again. I swear to God, most of you are Virgos. I don't know. That's what they do, is they take that chaos and they bring it underneath control. So I think that's maybe how I would interpret that Devil right now, is more of the ability to take things under control. But let's keep going with the other cards, because especially this next one will help emphasize its meaning. We have the Eight of Cups. Okay, a little bit more on the emotional side in terms of Eight of Cups typically means emotionally moving past things or moving towards the future, leaving emotional things behind. Keep going. We'll talk about everything in totality. We have the Six of Wands. Okay, once again, I think something where you interact with the public might be good too, with that communication, news, journalism, etc. YouTube channel, perhaps, because the Six of Wands is about public victory. All right. Number 4, we have Death reversed, which can mean something to do with helping people process change, or people that are needing to embark on some sort of journey of change but are resistant in some way. Then last but not least, we have the Three of Wands reversed. Yes, okay. This is, I apologize, pile 2. It's going to be a little bit repetitive, actually, because you have a lot of cards that emphasize what I was already talking about. But then again, I always love that, too, as a tarot reader, because it just kind of reemphasizes what I was picking up on intuitively with your other cards. So, definitely, once again, we'll just get kind of the repetitive part out of the way. Helping people launch things that they're planning. Probably small businesses. I think you would be great in this way, either as a financial advisor or taking people under your wing or helping people start their businesses too, because the Three of Wands reversed typically would represent a situation where we have plans for something, but we're trying to launch it and it's not really going anywhere, or we haven't mustered the courage to launch that particular thing. Speaking of launch with your Primavera, right? Three of Wands reversed is just that kind of, again, you would be really good at helping people launch things, enacting their plans, helping them keep to their plans, things like that. And once again, as I said, with the Devil, it's kind of similar, because I interpreted that more of the meaning of like getting things under control. So helping people get things under control, organizing things, careers and gifts along those lines, okay? That might even extend to say, it doesn't have to necessarily be finances, because actually, ironically, you don't have any Pentacles cards in your tarot spread, which usually that would mean more like a financial thing, although I think you're also good at that, especially if you're a Virgo, because every Virgo I've ever met, too, tends to be really good at that with financial things, because they're so organized. They're so plan-heavy. Very good. I love that about Virgos. But it could also mean in terms of, like, I'm hearing, like, wedding planning or, like, party planning, things like that, where you help people, not just in terms of, like, you know, helping get under control the more mundane things of life, like their finances, but also the fun things, like making sure a wedding goes really well and matches someone's dreams for their wedding, or helping people make sure, like, you know, if they have an event they're trying to bring together, a party planner, event planner, making sure it's, like, something to remember, something that's really exciting and something really fun, okay? So something along those lines, too. I think because of your ability to really distill communication down into its core kernel truths, pile 2, that's why you'd also be good with that kind of planning, because it's like you're able to take what someone says that they want and distill it down into, okay, well, here's the actionable item I need to do in order to fulfill that want or that need. Okay, like, I think you're really good with that, too. And yes, Six of Wands, I already said it, kind of repeating again, but public victory, public success, working with the public in some way. Honestly, I think what that means, too, is that anything that you do that's kind of public with these gifts, especially in terms of, you know, journalism, working with the public, with financial things, event planning, etc., whatever might really, you know, sing to you in terms of what you're interested in, you'll have victory with those things, because Six of Wands is also victory. It's success with things, okay? Being lauded for things, okay? And two, that could also mean that you're really good, or could be really good if you work on, kind of harboring, nurturing this talent, this gift, in helping other people reach success too. As we said with the Three of Wands reversed, helping people launch things, helping them find success. I think you are a really good, you'd be really good in roles in terms of cheerleading other people, cheering them on, saying, oh, I support you, I want to help you, I want to make sure that you can actualize your dreams and see them launch and see them flourish, okay? And then two, what's interesting is that there's kind of a side message coming here with the Eight of Cups and the Death card reversed. So this is leaning more into emotional gifts and abilities, because Cups suit in tarot is about our emotions, among other things, relationships too. And Death reversed can mean, as I said when I pulled it out, something to do with either people resisting change or helping people process change. I think this is related to the mediumship, if I was going to be, if I had to pin one specific gift or talent with this. Because, as I said, mediumship is speaking with people on the other side in terms of a spiritual gift. Eight of Cups is helping people emotionally move on, and literally Death reversed can mean helping people process change, or, like it says on the title, processing death. So some of you, if you were to lean into this mediumship ability I think you have, is you might do really well, especially in helping people that are having a hard time moving on from death, or having a hard time processing a death, or if a death was particularly difficult, like say it was, kind of a long drawn out painful thing. Obviously most deaths are, right? But, or I should say all deaths are, but sometimes depending on the circumstances of the person dying and the people around them, it can be extra difficult to process. So in which case, sometimes that might lean into therapy, or, sometimes when people work with hospice, a lot of that is processing death for obvious reasons. It's something along those lines. You're supposed to be, or, well, we all have free will, so I shouldn't say supposed to be, but you have a really high potential, that's the word is what I'll use, for helping people find healing after massive moments of change, and especially around death. And that's where I think your mediumship abilities would really help with that. So it's kind of a tandem thing. It could be something that you physically literally do in terms of, oh, I'm going to have a business where, I provide mediumship readings for people. Or, it could also be, I have a business or a volunteer thing where I help people, pick up their lives again and emotionally heal in some way after the death of a loved one. So that might be a tangible thing, but I think really behind it, what's fueling it in the background would be mediumship abilities. Especially for those of you that resonated when I said maybe you saw ghosts a lot when you were kids, or you sensed ghosts a lot when you were kids, or a kid, I should say. Or two, you always kind of had that connection to the other side. That's for a reason, pile two. You don't have those abilities for no reason, okay? It's because you're supposed to use them to help other people. And once again, it kind of makes me think of the communication thing, because communication can go, across too. It doesn't have to be communication in terms of journalism or news or a YouTube channel, which it can be too, but it can be communication from one side to the other, living versus the dead. Okay, so really cool. You have a really good blend of tangible physical gifts here. I think that Spirit wants you to maybe engage in more, but also spiritual ones too, the intangible. So if I just summarize you, I guess, in one sentence with this reading, pile two, it would be, well, Virgo. I don't care. I don't even care if you're not a sun sign Virgo. You're a Virgo to me. Screams Virgo to me, but helping people rein in the chaos of life, helping people process change and chaos and things that happen unexpectedly, and also bringing truth to people, whether that be through news, politics, or spiritual things like truth through mediumship as well. And helping people get things off the ground. Because that's funny, because it's you have a lot of these hidden talents are around the end of people's lives with mediumship and, kind of processing death. But also with Primavera and the Three of Wands reversed, it's also starting things as well. Because that's the thing with death is not an ending. I always describe it as a door. There's things that are at, that I'm not really explaining it very well, but it's a door because it's not a finality. It's a door because it's really just a gateway to something new. It's a gateway to rebirth in another way. I guess what I'm trying to say by connecting that with Primavera and the Three of Wands is it's like you have a capability for helping people not only at the end of their lives or beyond, right, with mediumship, but also helping people at the very beginning of their lives too, or when they're starting new things. Even if that baby, quote unquote, is a business and not a literal baby. But I don't know, some of you might also be talented when it comes to maternity type things too. Working in a maternity ward, working with babies in some way or children too, could also be very possible. Either way, it's like you're someone that kind of is really talented when you stand on that precipice in that doorway. You help people at the end, you help people at the beginning, and you help people with the transitions between, or you'd be very good at it at least if you haven't done it already. So beautiful, wonderful energy to connect to, Pile 2. Thank you so much for tuning in for today's reading. I hope you liked it, it helped you, it resonated, and if so, you know, the usual YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those 3 things, if not more. And as we say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, Pile 2. Hi there, Pile number 3. Welcome to your Hidden Gifts and Talents reading. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to the gorgeous card of Spirals of Manifestation, or the number 18, as your pile leader today. Now, whenever we choose with oracle cards, I just like to put the pile leader to the left. And let's start with drawing all of your other oracle cards for today's reading. So, calling today on Spirit for Pile 3. Tell us more about their hidden gifts and talents, things that you wish they would lean into more, things that you wish they would step into their power with more, or that they could utilize. Thank you. Well, definitely this one is the most prominent, so we'll take that one as your Lenormand card. And then next up we have the Citadel Oracle. Oopsie, if I can get my hands around it. I know some decks you just, maybe it's just because I have baby hands, they're very small. Some decks you try to get a handle on them and you just can't. Like that. We'll shuffle that part again a little bit. Okay, Spirit. There we go. Hey, 2 just popped out. How perfect. Second time's the charm, it seems. Okay, we'll put those up here for you. And then last but not least, we have the L Key Oracle. And if everything is not flying around everywhere from the sheer wind volume of the L Key Oracle being shuffled. There we go. Thank you for your patience, Pile 3, as we drew your cards. Now, let's unveil. So, first up from Lenormand, we have, the bear. And the bear in Lenormand traditionally depicts situations where we need to be strong in some way, or we are tough in some way, because literally when you think about a bear, be it, literally like a mother bear being tough for her babies or protective of her babies, or, even, I guess a papa bear too. They're creatures that represent strength and kind of almost in an intimidating way, right? But also creatures that, especially in this depiction, like they know how to get what they're striving for, right? With looks like a salmon in its mouth, okay? So what that tells me in terms of your hidden gifts and talents is, I almost wonder if you're the type of person, even if you don't realize it yet, where it's like you could kind of apply yourself to many different things. And I feel like the inherent hidden gift or talent within that is that you find at the very least, moderate success with each one. So it's kind of almost a hidden gift I'm hearing about being a jack of all trades in like the best way possible, because I don't like some people, they really are able to niche down and they're really able to be very good at just like 1 or 2, maybe 3 specific things. But you, Pile 3, I feel like you're a lot more multifaceted with your hidden gifts and talents. So, of course we'll drill down with the other cards, but I think this is kind of Spirit just saying, you probably are pretty good at a lot of different things you might try. You might be really good at just like picking up new things very quickly. Some of you might also, I'm hearing, be really good when it comes to learning languages. For some reason, I'm hearing about, like, I don't know if you ever watch, oh, what's his name on YouTube? Shama? Yeah, Shama. Like, he's, I don't know how many languages he speaks, but that's kind of the energy that you remind me of is Shama. He speaks, probably at least 20 languages, if not more. Go watch his videos. They're really entertaining. But yeah, like learning new languages, or it can also mean learning new languages, not in like the literal sense. It might be learning languages in terms of like having a hidden gift or talent and like relating to different kinds of people. You might find across your life that you've not really stuck to like one friend group or one type of people to associate with. I feel like you are the type of person that has that talent to really relate to and be open-minded to like a lot of different kinds of people or like lifestyles, etc. Maybe even when you were a kid, you found that you didn't really stick with just that one friend group. You kind of maybe navigated between a lot of them. You were kind of one of those drifters, which is actually a good thing because people like that, pile 3, tend to be really good at making connections, which is a really good predictor in terms of success in life. So I think that's another reason why maybe you kind of could apply yourself to a lot of different things and be successful because of that jack of all trades, but also like a master connector. Okay. And even that too reflects your pile leader with spirals of manifestation, because that card always represents to me like being good at manifesting things. So I think manifestation might be a really good spiritual strength of yours if we're talking more, intangible gifts rather than, the tangible that we've been discussing so far. And I don't know, it's just like you could just spin anywhere, and I feel like you just have the ability to maybe it's related to intelligence. I think you're the type of intelligent where it's because you have that ability to grasp new concepts really quickly. And that also lends itself to with like the learning so many different languages. I don't know. And maybe it's kind of weird to bring up IQ in a tarot reading, but I feel like a lot of you here in pile 3 have like a higher IQ because of that. Like you're just very whip quick when it comes to like grasping things. So I think that in and of itself is also like another hidden talent or ability of yours. Wonderful. Also, the bear can represent talents or hidden gifts when it comes to strength in the literal physical way. So for some of you, that could be in terms of a sport of some sort. It might be like, I'm hearing rock climbing for some reason too. That's another hobby or kind of skill that's coming forward, or anything that requires like muscle strength and coordination and like balance. Okay. Which can be like anything with like weightlifting, right? Like yoga requires a lot of balance, and even, I guess weightlifting sort of with your own body weight, right? Bodybuilding, martial arts is another thing I'm kind of hearing for you that you might be really good at, that you might want to kind of delve into. Anything that's regarding like physical strength too, I think you'd be great at. Let's keep going. So from your Citadel Oracle cards, we have the Founder with the element of fire with foundations and community. So once again, I swear to God, you're really good at connecting people. Because literally, like a founder of a city would be someone that literally I create a place where people gather. I feel like people kind of gather around you. And maybe it is because of like your intelligence and like your open-mindedness that people are just naturally kind of drawn to you, like moths to a flame is kind of what I'm hearing from Spirit in terms of a phrase. Speaking of flame, literally the element of fire here with the Founder card, right? And then two foundations, it just makes me think of that strength thing again. Just very good at, some of you might be really good at building things too, though, because not only does that require physical strength, but there's literally a hammer in the hand of one of the, it looks like I don't know if it's a mouse or a rat technically in this card. Either way, animal is holding a hammer, and so it makes me think of like carpentry, fixing up houses, being a fixer-upper type person in terms of being able to, like, maybe you just have a lot of, like, mechanical genius, too. Like, you're really good at... That's probably where your mental quickness really shines as well, is because you do grasp how to fix things, or, like, how are things put together. It almost kind of makes me think of engineering, too. I don't know. Lots of really strong, like, smart builder energy coming off of this particular pile today. And then we have the Walker with the element of earth, with the unknown and a journey. Okay, so once again, makes me think of physical exercise with the Walker. It could also mean that not just in terms of like strength training or martial arts, but a Walker can also mean someone that's really, I guess no one's really inherently talented at like hiking, but I'm hearing hiking for some reason because of that, because it's literally just like walking through nature. And I mean, it could also mean too that you have like a capability in terms of like connecting it with like building your foundations and like the carpentry thing and the bear too, because the bear is also a survivor. You might be really good in terms of like survival situations or in terms of, I don't know, like I know we're not talking about like living places here with this reading because it's about your hidden gifts and talents, right? But I feel like a lot of you might do better living in like a rural area that's like it's more wild and untamed, and there's more ability for you just to kind of like expand on your visions and your dreams when it comes to your home. Of course, out more rural, whereas like, suburban urban space, it's kind of more squished together, there's not as much room. But a rural area I feel like would fit you better because of this. It's like you're not afraid to walk out into the unknown. You're not afraid to journey into places that are a little bit more undefined, and like build structure there and build strength there and build, and that literally means in terms of actual like, oh, I'm going to move to a rural place and build a house. Okay. That's the literal tangible thing, but also in terms of the way that you can do that with other people, with community, building community. Like you're definitely a pioneer, a wayfinder, I guess pioneer probably is the best word. We'll keep with that one, right? We don't have to come up with a million synonyms, but in terms of your ability to like, I don't know, it's like you're like an anchor. You bring people together. You're really good at that. Building communities, being a community leader too. And it's odd because some of you might be like, well, I'm kind of shy. I'm kind of more introverted. I'm not necessarily like a really big speaker. It doesn't really matter because there's lots of leaders that can be introverted and be more quiet. And this is the thing with your hidden gift or your talent here, pile 3, is this isn't like a loud community like leader type voice. This is like, I'm so strong and independent and I know what I'm doing that naturally people are attracted to build community with me because of this quiet, capable leadership. Okay. So you really would shine in careers like that too, if you're kind of curious about career with this reading too. And last but not least, what did I just tell you? We have Maputla with She Who Guides, New Path. Like I said, being a pioneer. I swear to God, you saw it yourself. I didn't look at the card before I said it. Guide and renewal. Being a guide for other people. Showing other people the way. Building the community that we've already talked about ad nauseum. I won't repeat it too much, but I'm just saying. Would not be shocked if you get the 3 of Cups in your tarot reading. Or the 4 of Wands. That's the energy I'm getting off of you, pile 3. But, and being a pioneer in terms of new path. So I think too, the reason why no specific hobbies, or not a lot of specific hobbies or skills are coming out is because of you being kind of like a Swiss Army knife is how I would almost describe you. And because with New Path and the Unknown with your Walker card, it almost feels like you're not necessarily meant to, I mean, you can, but you're not necessarily meant to indulge so much in skills and talents that other people already, like a lot of other people already have. You're supposed to kind of start things that are new, okay? And like building a community around them. So I almost wonder, like, I'm trying to think of an example. For some reason, Dungeons and Dragons is coming to mind, like D&D. Like before D&D, at least to my knowledge, there really wasn't a lot of tabletop role-playing games. Or maybe there were, but like they were obviously like the first ones. Like I know, I'm trying to remember their names. I'm only thinking of Gary Gygax, I think is his name. He's the first one I'm thinking of. I know there's one other dude that helped him create it. So it's kind of like that, where like he started this thing that spun up this whole community, but it was like he was a pioneer in that, at least to my knowledge, from what I understand, like before him, there wasn't that thing. I feel like that's you, pile 3. You're meant to create a community like that and start new things that eventually grow and expand into like these giant, huge, like D&D, like tons of people play D&D, right? But that wouldn't have happened had Gary Gygax and the other guy, once again, sorry, I can't remember his name right now, hadn't like gone forward and been pioneers and created that whole system with D&D. Okay, so, and that even spawned even more because, I mean, for those of you that play video games, tons of video games borrow from D&D too, especially RPGs. Okay, so think about how many things would not exist had they not been pioneers and done that new thing. Okay, or anything else. I mean, it doesn't have to be, of course I'm into geek culture, so D&D is like the first thing that came to my mind personally, but I don't know. That's what I'm saying in terms of like an example though for you. Like, you're supposed to start those new things. You're very good at that. People look to your leadership because of your independence and your capability, or they could if you were to lean into that, right? So let's draw your tarot cards before I nerd out about D&D more. All right, let's look at these cards. Number one, we have the Queen of Pentacles reversed, and we're going to read reversals a little bit different today because this is a hidden talents reading, right? Reversals in this type of reading, I would read as things that you are like very unaware of or that have been very untapped, okay? So we'll talk about what the meaning of that card is later, but I just wanted to explain that before we drew all the cards. What did I tell you, pile 3? I was like, I would not be shocked if you get the 3 of Cups or the 4 of Wands, and look at that, you have the 4 of Wands, which is a card of community. So bang on, I was right. Totally makes sense. Not shocking at all. Love that came out. That's funny. Very good thing too. Oh, and the Tower too, reversed. Okay, so usually that's a negative card, but once again, reading it a bit differently because this is a hidden gifts and talents reading. We'll talk about that more. And then we have the Artist, which is very specific to this particular deck. Doesn't show up in tarot often, but you can already probably kind of tell what it's talking about. Something to do with being artistic, being creative. And last but not least, we have, drumroll, the King of Swords. I knew you were intelligent. I was like, this person seems really smart to me. King of Swords is usually someone that is very good with communication because he is an air suit sign. But also someone that is very intelligent because the air suit is also associated with being smart. Okay, logical, a great thinker. So drawing all of this together, as I said in the beginning, reversals are things that are very hidden to you. You have 3 reversals today. You have the Queen of Pentacles reversed as your first. Let's start with that. So a Queen of Pentacles reversed in this type of reading, pile 3, would indicate that you have an especially hidden gift or talent regarding building like security in some way. And also, I mean, we kind of touched on that with the community thing, but building security specifically in other people. Because queens in tarot, in my interpretation, tend to be like inward-focused energy. So I think this is more about your personal connections. You are a lot better than you understand at making other people feel more secure. I think through your leadership capability that we've talked about quite a lot so far in your reading, but definitely, too, it could also expand into literally like career-related things because Pentacles, that is the suit of career and finances, right? So in that case, too, it could also be a hidden talent, especially when it comes to, once again, because it's such an internal focus card being the Queen, it's like making them feel more secure at home. So I don't know. I think some of you might be mechanics or into engineering or architecture. Probably more related to the home would be, like I said, architecture. I don't know. Damn, you're smart. You have so many abilities here, pile 3. Oh my god. Really cool. But yeah, something to do with security and like architecture and making them feel more secure emotionally too, I think. Because you're such a stable foundation for other people. Not just in the way that you pioneer, but also in the way that you emotionally touch other people's hearts, or you would be very good at that if you were to lean into that. And then, of course, we have drum roll, the 4 of Wands. As I said, not shocked when that popped out. That's the card of community. It's the card of celebration. It's the card of stability in the home. So once again, fixing things, being mechanical. It's also the card of building communities. So really, that's just kind of a repeat. I'm not going to expand on that too much. It's just confirming that is a very good ability of yours, okay? And then next we have the Tower reversed, the next reversal card. Tower reversed usually would mean something to do with, oh, we're going to avoid disaster in some way, which once again makes me think you have a really good hidden talent regarding like bringing stability to things, making sure things don't fall down. Literally, that could mean architecture, once again, or fixing things so they don't fall down, okay? But it can also mean that in an intangible way, like not just literally fixing things. It can also mean talents in terms of making sure other people don't fall down in terms of, you know, with the Queen of Pentacles, like their security, making sure like you build people up. You don't just build things, you also build other people, or you'd be really good at that, pile 3, okay? So that's kind of how I see the Tower in this particular kind of reading for you. Then you have the Artist reversed, which, as I said when it popped out, pretty simple, kind of what it says on the tin. Definitely, you should probably look into specifically maybe drawing or painting in some way. It could also mean writing as well. Of course, that's also an artistic pursuit. He is literally just, I mean, with an artist, we think, of course, he's drawing something, but writing can also be, something that we use pen on paper for. So if you've already had an inkling, maybe that you might want to try writing if you haven't done that already, or, Bob Ross it up. Try painting, even if you think you're going to suck at the beginning. I almost wonder if you tried it, if you haven't done so already, that you would be a lot better at it than you expect, okay? I think especially, I guess painting is what I'm hearing. Although, of course, you can use other mediums, sketching, charcoal. What do you call that stuff that's like it's like the oil sticks? I don't know. I'm very not artistic myself, so anyone that's artistic, feel free to correct me in the comments down below with what the real name of that is. But it's like they're like the little blocky clay sticks that are different colors. I feel like they were called like craypaws when I was a kid, or that's the ones we used when we were kids, but they're like the oil, like smudgy sticks. I don't know. Anyways. Something like that, too, is what I'm hearing. And then we have the King of Swords, which, as I said, is communication, intelligence. Once again, that just reiterates, I think you'd be pretty good at a lot of different things you might try, just because of your high intelligence is what I'm getting off of you, pile 3. But once again, communication, so that's like that languages thing I was talking about at the very beginning, and, referencing Shalma's channel. And then also, too, logical pursuits. Okay, so that might be, like logical strategy games, even if it's, like PC games, like I play Civilization. That's a really good example of like a strategy game, right, on a PC, but also strategy games in terms of, I guess, well, checkers is a bit simpler, but like chess, right, uses and utilizes a lot of like logical brain power. Like you're really good at being, I don't want to call you like a computer brain, but that's kind of what I'm feeling in terms of, because I don't know, computer brain is kind of cold. I don't mean it in a cold way, pile 3, but you're just very good at processing information, very good at, especially with the way that you lead other people, because once again, we have a king. I mean, a king is a leader, just as a queen is too, right? But it's leadership in a masculine energy way, which is very much so about helping other people take action, right? I think you're supposed to be a leader of a community too, in general. You're like a North Star for other people, a Polaris showing the way. You are, you're like other people's guiding star. Like if I had to summarize you in just one sentence based on this reading, pile 3, on your hidden and talents, gifts, etc., it's like you have that little mode of creativity there with the artist, but especially you're like a builder, a fixer, and a supporter in one sentence. Just very, very good at, I don't know, I think you just excel a lot too. I don't know. You're like an overachiever, but in a way that because of your intelligence, it doesn't really, maybe sometimes it does burn you out, but like I feel like, I don't know, you're one of those people that other people like could look at and be like, well, like, damn, how do they get that much done? Like, how come they have their fingers in so many different pies? And, how do they learn all those things? Like, or you're meant to be that way, at least pile 3, if you were to indulge in maybe some of these skills and talents more, okay? So really cool energy. Thank you so much for joining me for our reading today and letting me tap into that energy. Loved when that 4 of Wands popped out. That was funny in the best way possible. So as I always say at the end of our readings, I hope you liked it, it resonated, and it helped you. If so, you know the YouTube drill. Like, comment, subscribe, and thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those 3 things, if not more. And as we say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, my foundation community builder pile 3. And I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye.